The teasers dropped, the fandom went silent. In an instant, the entire K-pop world was turned upside down.
Oh, completely upside down.
They tried to sue him for $8 million, but the verdict just sent shockwaves through the industry. Welcome to the StarScope K-Report.
Join Eric and Minji as they ride the Hallyu Wave, uncovering the biggest K-pop comebacks, shocking industry controversies, and major K-drama updates.
From internet breaking rumors to historic chart milestones, we dive deep into the world of Korean entertainment.
And for this deep dive, you are genuinely going to want to buckle up, because we are unpacking the explosive legal battles surrounding 100 label.
Yeah, it's wild.
We're not just looking at a timeline here. We are tracing a direct line from a scandalous Tokyo rumor all the way up to a massive 30 billion won corporate fraud investigation.
Right, which is just insane. So let's start with the anatomy of that initial scandal. Because to understand this multi-million-dollar corporate collapse, you first have to understand how an agency tries to, weaponize a rumor. Go back to June 2025. Ju Haknyeon, obviously a massive draw for the Boyz, is in Tokyo. And he gets photographed at a bar with a woman who turns out to be former Japanese AV actress Asuka Kirara.
Right.
Within hours, Korean media, specifically driven heavily by a reporter from 10 Asia, amplifies this single photograph into a massive, career-ending rumor of prostitution.
Which, in the K-pop ecosystem, that is the absolute nuclear button.
Oh, yeah.
When a headline like that hits, the domestic reaction is instantaneous. It's visceral. K-nets are just conditioned to expect flawless moral conduct from their idols. So the forums were completely melting down.
Completely.
But international stands immediately pumped the brakes. They looked at the same paparazzi photo and just demanded receipts, like asking where the actual proof of anything illegal was.
Yeah, they wanted facts.
Exactly. And the truth is, there was absolutely none. Kira had been retired from the adult film industry for, 5 to 7 years?
Yeah, at least.
She works in cosmetics and dermatology now, which is exactly what Haknyeon said they were discussing at the bar.
Right. And I'm just struggling to understand the label's legal strategy in that immediate aftermath.
If you can even call it a strategy.
Seriously. If the police hadn't even opened an investigation yet, and the only evidence was a blurry photo of a conversation, on what legal grounds did 100 label think they could demand Haknyeon sign a termination agreement?
They had none.
They didn't just ask him to leave, they demanded a $2 billion won penalty.
Which is astronomical.
That's about 1.4 million US dollars. Instantly. Were they just, hoping he'd fold under the sheer panic of a PR crisis?
Oh, 100%. They were banking entirely on the pressure cooker of K-pop culture. Agencies often use the intense moral expectations of the domestic public as leverage.
Right.
They know that an idol's immediate instinct when a scandal breaks is terror. Terror of ruining the group's comeback, terror of getting the black ocean from fans at a concert.
Yeah, that's their worst nightmare.
So the label tried to use that psychological vulnerability to extort 2 billion won before the facts could even come to light.
But Haknyeon refused to sign.
Good for him.
And I really want to highlight this remarkably candid interview he gave to Billboard back in December 2025. It just strips away the corporate PR and gives you the raw human reality of these contracts.
That was so heartbreaking to read.
It was. He said, realistically, if I paid this, it would be the end of my life. I would go bankrupt.
You read those words, and you just feel the betrayal. Imagine dedicating your entire youth to a company, building their market value, and the second a baseless rumor drops, they don't deploy their PR team to protect you.
Nope.
Instead, they hand you a bill for your own execution.
Wow, yeah.
The fandom mobilized instantly when they realized the agency was throwing them under the bus.
Right.
The hashtag campaigns, the sheer anger directed at 100 label, it was unprecedented.
And the agency's retaliation for him refusing that initial penalty is where the legal mechanics get truly alarming.
Right.
They fired him, citing a morals clause in his standard exclusive contract, and then sued him for a staggering 8 billion won.
8 billion.
That is roughly $5.4 to $5.5 million. But the foundation of their lawsuit completely crumbled. By July 2025, the police had thoroughly investigated the prostitution claims and found zero evidence. They cleared Haknyeon completely.
And then the dominoes just started falling in his favor, thank goodness.
Yeah.
In May 2026, the reporter who centered the fire at 10 Asia was actually indicted for defamation.
Right. Accountability.
Exactly. And the ultimate vindication came on July 16, 2026. The Seoul Central District Court completely dismissed the agency's 8 billion won lawsuit.
Just threw it out.
Threw it out. The judge ruled that a private meeting with a retired adult film actress was a matter of private life. It was not a severe act of reputational damage, and it absolutely did not warrant contract termination, let alone an 8 billion won penalty.
So let's break down the mechanics of why that ruling is so historic. Because morality clauses in South Korean entertainment contracts are notoriously broad.
Very broad.
Historically, they've allowed agencies to define almost any PR headache as a breach of morals. But this judge drew a hard line between public perception and actual contractual damage.
And the collective sigh of relief from the fandom that day was just massive.
Oh, I bet.
The stands knew it, you know. They fought for him against the evil edit narrative online, and seeing the courts finally say this lawsuit was groundless was everything. But the ruling also exposed how agencies use these clauses as just literal financial bludgeons.
Right. This weaponization of morality clauses was brutal. But as we're about to see, Haknyeon was really just patient zero in a much larger corporate collapse.
Oh, it goes so much deeper.
This wasn't an isolated, bizarre PR overreaction. It was a desperate smokescreen.
Yeah.
And before we unpack the mass exodus of the Boyz, make sure you're subscribed to StarScope K-Report because the financial reality of this agency is about to get much darker.
Seriously, when you realize the parent company was secretly bleeding millions, the extortion of individual artists suddenly makes a terrifying amount of sense.
Let's trace that causal link. Haknyeon's lawsuit gets dismissed, but the chaos at 100 label was already metastasizing. 9 other members of the Boyz filed for a preliminary injunction to suspend their exclusive contracts.
Yeah.
And their core grievance wasn't about, creative differences. It was purely financial.
Always.
They hadn't received their settlement payments since July 2025, and the agency was actively denying them access to the financial data to see why.
And if you're wondering why a fandom would care so deeply about corporate accounting, think about it this way. Your streaming money, the money you spend on physical albums, those VIP concert tickets, none of that was going to the Boyz.
Nothing.
It was vanishing into a corporate void. In the K-pop world, the settlement, or baebun, is the entire financial lifeline for an idol.
Let's actually explain how that settlement accounting works because it's crucial to understanding the lawsuit. An agency doesn't just cut a check for revenue.
Right.
They deduct the cost of the music production, the stylist, the music video shoots, the dorm housing, and in many cases, historical trainee debt.
Which is huge.
Exactly. So if an agency denies an artist access to the underlying data, the artist has no way of knowing if they are being charged for legitimate comeback expenses, or if the agency is just inventing costs to wipe out the profit margin.
And denying access to the books is the reddest of red flags.
Oh, for sure.
When the Boyz revealed this, global fans immediately organized email strikes. They sent protest trucks to the building. The fandom recognized that the agency was effectively starving the artist out.
And the court recognized it too. In April 2026, the court ruled in favor of the members, suspending the contracts.
Thank God.
But I want to focus on the legal defense 100 label tried to use because it requires a serious reality check.
It was hilarious.
The agency tried to argue in court that the initial contract deposit, which is a standard signing bonus given when renewing or signing a new contract, was actually an advance payment for future settlements.
That argument is legally absurd.
Right. Arguing that a signing bonus is an advance on future paychecks is like a landlord telling you that your initial security deposit is actually just them paying your first 3 months of rent for you.
Exactly.
It completely rewrites the financial reality of the contract. The judge saw right through it, stating firmly that a signing bonus is compensation for the artist's existing market value and popularity. It is absolutely not a substitute for actual revenue generated by their ongoing labor.
The audacity to even attempt that defense just shows how agencies rely on idols being too intimidated to challenge the accounting.
Yeah.
It is the textbook definition of a slave contract dynamic. But what makes this story so triumphant is how the Boyz fought back.
They really did.
Despite being financially cut off since July 2025, the members actually financed their own practice sessions.
Which is incredible.
They paid out of their own pockets to rent studio space, hire vocal coaches, get choreographers to prepare for their new concert intersection at the KSPO Dome. They just refused to let the agency's financial chokehold force them into an involuntary hiatus.
That kind of resilience is incredible, but it also highlights a systemic rot in the industry. The Boyz weren't the only ones running for the exits.
Nope, not at all.
EXO-CBX, so Baekhyun, Chen, and Xiumin, terminated their contracts with the subsidiary INB 100 over identical disputes regarding opaque accounting.
Same exact playbook.
Then you have soloist Jung Junyoung claiming Blackmaid, which is another subsidiary under the 100 umbrella, pressured him to terminate under unfair terms, and then demanded he repay massive funds from a distributor he never even agreed to work with.
The entire roster is basically trying to evacuate a burning building.
Exactly. Which brings me back to my earlier question about Haknyeon's 8 billion won lawsuit. When you overlay the timeline, right?
Yeah.
The fact that they hadn't paid the Boyz since July 2025, right around the exact time they demanded 2 billion won from Haknyeon, it paints a very specific picture.
It really does.
Suing Haknyeon for $5.5 million was never about a morality clause. It was a desperate cash grab by a failing company trying to liquefy its own assets, meaning its artists, to cover its debts.
Netizens were connecting those exact dots online. The timing was just too perfect. But the real question was, where did all the money go?
Right.
Because if the Boyz were touring and selling albums, but the artists weren't getting paid, what was the agency actually spending the revenue on?
Well, the answer to that question goes straight to the very top of the corporate ladder. Let's look at the founders.
Okay.
100 label was co-founded by Chairman Cha Ga-won and the singer and producer MC Mung. Now, right as this turmoil was peaking in June 2025, MC Mung abruptly stepped down from all management duties, citing personal reasons.
And we all know when a founder bails mid-crisis citing personal reasons, it usually means the auditors have arrived.
Basically, yeah.
And in this case, the audit revealed a massive black hole.
A 30 billion won black hole, to be exact. Fast forward to July 2026. The Seoul Metropolitan Police Agency's Financial Crimes Investigation Unit sought a third detention warrant for Chairman Cha Ga-won. Third warrant. She is being investigated for fraud under the Aggravated Punishment of Specific Economic Crimes Act. We are talking about over $20 million in alleged fraud.
How do you even hide $20 million in an entertainment company?
Well, the mechanism of the alleged fraud is actually tied directly to the artists themselves.
Right.
The police allege that Chairman Cha Won proposed massive business partnerships to other companies, specifically to develop intellectual property businesses featuring the label's artists. Essentially, she was leveraging the fame and the visuals of groups like the Boyz to collect massive upfront payments from business partners, promising lucrative IP projects.
Wow.
But she allegedly pocketed those investments and never delivered on the projects. Now, to maintain strict impartiality regarding the ongoing investigation, we must note that Chairman Cha Won categorically denies all of these charges.
Of course.
She claims the accusations are entirely fabricated, framing it as a hostile merger and acquisition attempt targeting her label.
The sheer irony here is what constitutes the ultimate key T for me.
Oh, definitely.
You have an agency that tried to financially ruin a young idol's life, demanding 8 billion won over a private drink, invoking the highest standards of morality.
Yeah.
And now, the CEO of that very same agency is facing her third arrest warrant for an 8-figure corporate fraud.
It's unbelievable.
It is the most staggering hypocrisy.
And the collateral damage extends far beyond the business partners. While the label was allegedly collecting these massive IP investments, they weren't paying their workforce.
Oh, this part makes me so mad.
The Ministry of Employment and Labor received a flood of complaints regarding unpaid employee wages. The total amount of unpaid staff salaries is believed to exceed 10 billion won.
10 billion won.
Yeah.
We are talking about the stylists, the managers, the hair and makeup teams, the back-end logistics crew, the people who actually make the comebacks and the Hallyu Wave happen.
Exactly.
They were working for free while the CEO was allegedly orchestrating a 30 billion won phantom IP scheme.
It is a classic shell game. You aggressively sue a single artist for $5.5 million under the guise of morality to distract from the fact that you are allegedly defrauding business partners out of $20 million, all while stiffing your own workforce for millions more. It raises a really critical question about the vulnerability of artists trapped under massive corporate umbrellas.
Yeah, because it's not just one group.
Exactly. 100 label has several subsidiaries, housing massive stars like Chinese Taemin, Lee Seung-gi, and V-Viz. What happens to their IP, their comebacks, and their budgets when the parent company is collapsing under fraud investigations?
That is exactly what has international fandom sweating right now. When the parent company is fighting a 30 billion won fraud charge, the trickle-down effect on the subsidiary artists is immediate.
Yeah, it has to be.
Comebacks get delayed because vendors refuse to work with the company on credit. Marketing budgets just vanish. The fans of Taemin and Lee Seung-gi are watching this space with serious anxiety, hoping their biases have ironclad exit clauses in their contracts.
And the ripple effects of this collapse are going to reshape how artists negotiate with these umbrella corporations moving forward.
Without a doubt.
We will be tracking those changes closely, so hit that subscribe button so you never miss a KT update.
The industry moves incredibly fast, but the precedents set here are going to be permanent.
They absolutely are. When you step back and look at the sheer scale of the source material we've covered today, a very clear pattern emerges.
Yeah.
You have Ju Haknyeon having an $8 billion or one lawsuit completely thrown out by a judge. You have EXO-CBX breaking free from opaque accounting. You have 9 members of the Boyz successfully defeating a massive label in court, exposing the absurdity of classifying a signing bonus as an advance payment.
It's huge, because for decades, the power dynamic in the K-pop industry has been entirely asymmetrical.
Right.
Labels held all the cards, they had the financial data, the PR machinery, and the threat of crippling lawsuits. But these artists didn't fold.
Which leaves you with a lingering question to ponder long after this deep dive ends. With major idols successfully defeating massive labels in court over morality clauses and shady accounting, are we finally witnessing the death of the unilateral slave contract era in K-pop?
I really hope so.
For years, labels weaponized public perception to keep artists locked in. But with the courts now consistently siding with the idols, demanding real financial transparency, and rejecting the weaponization of an artist's private life, will this empower a whole new generation of idols to break their silence and challenge the traditional power dynamics of the Hallyu Wave?
If the fans and the courts keep demanding accountability, the agencies won't have a choice but to evolve.
You've been listening to StarScope K-Report, where Eric and Minji bring you the stories shaping K-pop, K-dramas, and the global Hallyu Wave. Thanks for tuning in, and don't forget to subscribe for more stories that keep the stars shining.